Today, I am here to talk to all the moms with kiddos out there. So all of our day-to-day tasks that we have to do, lifting the kiddos up, picking up their toys over and over again, doing the laundry, getting stuff in and out of the trunk, pushing the stroller, all of these different tasks can lead to us having some nagging sort of aches and pains in our back or neck or shoulders. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about some easy tips, some posture tips that you can do to help make sure or help to prevent some of these aches and pains from happening. So I'm going to talk through some common tasks that we moms have to do, especially when we still have wee little ones at home. My guy's 13 years old, and I'm definitely not picking him up anymore. But when we're picking up little kids, there's definitely some ways that you can do it to try and help protect your back and your neck and that. So without further ado, the first thing I want to talk about is when we do have to pick up our kid or baby from the floor. And that. So I really recommend trying to get down into a half kneel position. So coming down onto one knee and getting as close to your kiddo as possible. Okay. So you're not doing this big lurch out to reach them. I know that that happens sometimes, especially when you're running after a toddler. But if they're stationary on the ground, get close to them in a half kneel position, grab hold of them with two arms, pull your belly in a little bit. And then I want you to think about pushing up through your legs as you stand up. So really using your butt and your thigh muscles and push back up to standing, holding the kiddo in front of you here. Okay, that's going to help you to keep your back in a more neutral position by tightening your tummy first. You're engaging those abdominal muscles to give you some support there. And I also like to think about exhaling as you stand up to help give you some support and help you better engage those core muscles. So that's my first tip as far as lifting up your child from the floor. Now, my next tip is when you are carrying or holding your child. So definitely something that moms with little ones do all the time, okay? And we all have probably seen the mom pose. I don't know if I'm hooked up to a microphone here, so this may or may not work. And that, but where we kind of pop a hip out to the side and we put the baby on the hip. And that, so. And we tend to have a side that we do it on all the time. What we really want to try and do is a couple things. We don't want to pop that hip up to prop the kid on. We want to try and keep our pelvis neutral, and we want to switch side to side and use both sides equally so that we don't get unbalanced. If you can, really honestly, spend some time holding the kiddo dead on in front to make sure that we're balanced with it as well. So making different changes, moving side to side, and not just keeping the kid on one side, using one arm the whole time. And if you're baby wearing, this is a great thing to do. We just want to make sure that you're keeping your back straight, your shoulders back and down, and that you've got good fit for your baby carrier so that you're not putting any extra stress and strain through your back and neck. So if you're not sure if your baby carrier is fitting well or you are using it and having some neck or back issues, it may be helpful to go set up an appointment with a baby wearing specialist to make sure, one, that this carrier is the best one for you, and two, that you're having it on right so that it is dispersing your baby's weight as well as possible. Okay, so those are my tips for carrying and holding your child. Next one is a task that I know every mom is familiar with, picking up toys from the floor. No matter how much we really want our kids to do it, you know that you're going to pick up the toys from the floor as well because they just never pick them up as much as you want them to. So we know that you're going to be cleaning up after your kids often. And so many people make the mistake of kind of hunching or bending from their back to do it. You want to think about keeping your back straight and tipping forward from your waist and even kind of letting your leg go up behind you as you tip forward to pick up the toys. This is actually a great balance exercise, and if done really slow and controlled, a nice sort of strengthening exercise for your core as well. So if you're wondering what this looks like, just take a look at a golfer after he hits his ball into the hole and how he bends over or she bends over to pick up that ball. They all kind of tip forward from their waist, keeping their back straight, and then they kick a leg out behind them while they're picking something up. So, Google a golfer video and that to kind of get a better view of it that way. So that's my tip for picking things up from the floor. Next, I have a tip for lifting your child out of the crib. Oh, tough situation. So I'm lucky enough that I am a tall individual, and therefore I did not have to really have to struggle as much to get up and over the railing to get my son out of the crib when he was younger. But if you are a shorter individual, you might find that you need to use a step stool to kind of get the leverage that you need. But you want to get as close to the crib as possible. And if you need a step stool to maintain good form, use that. But stand with your feet about shoulder width apart and your knees bent a little bit. And I want you to keep a small arch in your back as you bend forward from your hips again. And then once you bend forward to a place where you can reach your kiddo, grab your kiddo and bring them close to you, as close as you can. And then straighten your hips and your knees to stand back up. Don't pull up from your back, push up from your hips and your knees, okay? And you do the reverse to put the child back in the crib, all right? Last tip today is on pushing the stroller. Right now it's ungodly hot in St. Louis and maybe not the best weather to go out for a walk with the family unless you're doing it really early in the morning. However, but when you are out there pushing the kiddos in the stroller, you want to think about keeping the stroller really close to you. I like to say belly up to the bar. Okay, so we get the stroller handles close to our trunk. That lets us stay up nice and tall. You can even think about pulling the belly in a little bit for a little bit of support. And you want to have our shoulders back and down and our back straight, okay? The force to push the stroller should come from your whole body, not just from your arms, okay? And so we want to avoid letting the stroller get too far away from us to avoid hunching in our back and our shoulders. We want to stay up tall so that we're using our core muscles well. So there you have it. Today we talked through some different posture tips that you can use for picking your kiddo up from the floor, carrying your kiddo, picking toys up off the floor, getting your baby out of the crib, and pushing the stroller. So hopefully these are helpful. And if you have any questions about them, please feel free to drop me a comment or a message and let me know.